Hey everybody, John from Movie Burners here. I'm back with another movie review. Today I'm going to be discussing the Daniel Kwan directed Swiss Army Man. Now, Kwan has created probably the most bizarre, mind-bending film I've seen in many a year. With this one, it follows Hank, played by Paul Dano, who's marooned alone on an island. That is until Manny, played by Daniel Radcliffe, comes along, or should I say washes up onto the beach at the most opportune moment and whisks the two off on a surreal journey. It would be fair to say Hank is not in the best of mental states when we first meet him, which is pretty prophetic given the revelations to be had later, and he's emaciated, depressed and on the verge of suicide. Stood on a paradisical beach, he slips his head into a handmade noose, tiptoeing unsteadily on a box and humming unintelligibly away to himself. Things look to be over before they've even begun. That is until he spots the shape of a man on the beach ahead. In his excitement to rush out and meet the stranger, however, he inadvertently falls off the box and almost hangs himself right there. Thankfully for Hank though, the rope snaps under his weight, and upon reaching the man it becomes abundantly clear that he's long dead, his skin a pale bluish white whilst his body is limp and lifeless. To make matters worse, Hank causes the corpse to begin farting violently when he administers CPR. Seemingly repulsed by the continual farting, he stalks away before quickly returning, wrought with guilt, as the flatulent corpse begins washing back out. What follows is possibly the strangest scene that I have ever seen in my life. Hank literally begins riding the corpse through the waves, using its farts as a form of propulsion. There's time for a few unnecessary close shots of bare arse cheeks before the propulsion seems to stop and he ends up going under the waves. When he awakes on another beach, it's perhaps forgivable that he and the audience thought the whole thing was a trip or a hallucination of some sort. A packet of cheese crisps tells Hank otherwise, though the rational observer will still have their doubts, and sure enough, the corpse is a short distance away. The two of them have managed to somehow make it back to the mainland, though the lack of signal on the dead man's phone makes it clear that he's still far from society. The pair then go on a very interesting journey together, forming quite the budding little friendship along the way. The corpse, who later goes by the name of Manny, begins talking to Hank and showcasing a plethora of different talents that help them along the way, from a source of water and a means of starting a fire to a GPS erection compass. Yes, you heard that correct, a GPS erection compass. Now, this next quote, and I'm going to say it, Manny, I think your penis is guiding us home, is definitely up there as one of the more memorable ones in this film. Hank becomes a sort of mentor-like figure to the man-child corpse, whose thirst for knowledge is unquenchable, teaching him about societal norms, relationships, sex, masturbation, morality and everything in between. He even goes to the extremes of dressing in drag to appease Manny, who by this point is fixated on the girl on his phone's wallpaper and seems to be mentally developing at a rate of knots. He appears desperate to remember her name with the hope that it will jolt memories of his life back and lead them home. It soon becomes apparent though that Sarah, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, the girl in the wallpaper and one of the main instigators of the aforementioned erection compass, is really the main driving point of the story. Despite all the absurdity of fart jokes, erections and other immature nonsense floating around on the surface of this film, there's a definite serious message being put forward by Kwan and Scheinert here. The film is narrated by Hank and viewed solely from his perspective throughout, which obviously, given the nature of what's happening with the whole talking corpse and whatnot, would definitely lend some validity to the theories of it all being a hallucination. The true meaning of the film is deliberately left ambiguous, but it was pretty clear to me from the drag play acting inside the makeshift bus onwards that Hank was projecting an imaginary world. The view was only solidified when it became apparent he was hiding out in the woods behind the girl's house. My initial thoughts were that he'd actually died in the suicide attempt and everything afterwards was a sort of weird purgatory-like world, but the ending fully turned me onto the schizophrenic split personality disorder theory. Daniel Radcliffe is the absolute star in a film that's about as far from Hogwarts as you're likely to get. It couldn't have been easy playing a dead man for an entire film, and the way he maintained control of both his facial expressions and his limp body, even as it was contorted into all manner of awkward shapes, was very, very impressive. Extremely impressive in actual fact. Manny, rather strangely for a dead character, was also the more developed of the two leads, effectively growing from a toddler in mental terms to an adolescent adult, and Radcliffe absolutely excelled in portraying this evolution. Paul Dano also delivered a strong performance as Hank, the lonely, troubled, socially awkward outsider who in his imaginary world at least is looking for a reason to live. It was enjoyable watching both Hank and Manny's friendship grow as the film progressed, and the two actors had bundles of chemistry together. Musically, the score was pretty incredible, I have to say. Hull and McDowell do a fantastic job of making it seem like the music is actually taking place within Hank and Manny's minds. It features orchestral arrangements seamlessly blending in with the actors humming to different tunes throughout, including the Jurassic Park theme. I really enjoyed the score in this film, and I'm very surprised that it didn't receive any Oscar recognition last year, because it certainly deserved it. And I feel like this film would definitely divide opinion. It just has that vibe about it. Superficially, it's got an immature humour in spades, which has a huge potential to put a lot of people off. But if you give it a chance, then it really does develop into an interesting story. It has the bromance, buddy elements between the two leads, and underneath a very serious message about mental health, loneliness, and the dangers of modern society's indifference to both. Of course, given the highly ambiguous nature of the film, it is very possible that someone else could watch it and have a completely different theory as to what's going on, and which is why I have to recommend it, because it's a film which gets the creative juices going, and it's very well crafted with great performances and a lovely little score to boot. And I'll be giving it a 3.5 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes, and give us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out at the Movie Burner blog on movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.